And we're live, and good morning, folks. Welcome to another live Jedi Academy. That's right, we're back better than ever, and this is the Q&A show of Q&A shows for Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. Welcome on this Saturday morning. Grab your donuts, grab your croissants, grab your muffins, grab your coffee, grab your cappuccinos, alcohol, whatever it is you need to get your day started. Maybe it's later in the day because we go all over the world. We have fans everywhere. Maybe it's evening. Maybe you're at the pub and you're enjoying a fine ale. It doesn't matter. Grab whatever you need. Sit back and relax as we bring you the Jedi Academy. And this is a show for Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, and it's a Q&A show. And the way it works, we have a wonderful panel, and we are here to do nothing but answer your questions about the game. It can be anything you want. So all you have to do is get your question in. And when you get your question in, you go to the chat. Make sure you put question in front of your statement, and that's how we scoop up your questions. If you don't do that, then we're going to miss it, and that's not on us, that's you. Again, the word question in front of your statement, that will help us get the question scooped up. It does behoove you to get your questions in sooner rather than later. We do have a cutoff time because we do this for 2 hours. So get your questions in, and don't worry. Sometimes, Finn, he's scooping up the questions. He likes to do fun questions at the end. So if you do a fun question, don't worry about it. It'll probably be at the end of the stream. So so it's pretty simple science stuff. So that being said, I am Ranger J 1999. We've got Dr. Finn, Medicine Woman, here. Good morning, Dr. Finn. People can't see you waving, really, so say hello.
Hi.
Okay,
Hi.
there you go. Okay, there you go. Oh, there you are. Oh, there you go. And then we also have Warrior from Warrior Presents here. Warrior, what is going on, my friend?
What's happening, you guys?
Yeah, it's
What is
right.
going on?
Science.
Science.
Why is this locked? Hold on. Stupid. What is going on with... Oh.
What?
What
did you do? What did you break?
No, it wasn't showing non-video participants. I'm like, I didn't change that setting. Stupid ass Zoom. All right. Oh, and also joining us from the other side of Coruscant in the working district, good old Maurice.
Yeller.
Yeller indeed. What's going on, buddy?
No, not much. How's everybody doing?
Are you awake?
I am. I'm actually just trying to consume as many carbohydrates as possible.
Oh, really? And by carbohydrates, what specifically are you trying to eat?
Beer.
No,
I'm eating some toast.
Okay, so but it just plain toast or jelly,
Toast.
jam, butter, what?
I got some butter on it.
I'm just expecting bow rounds every time good old Maurice is here now.
No. Good old Maurice wants to live past the age of 40, so he had to get off the bow rounds. The bow rounds had to go. It's time. Yeah, so yeah. Bananas and toast now for breakfast.
It's a delicious breakfast. My mom's big into toast in the morning. I do not like eating breakfast in the morning. I just don't eat it. I know. I wake up. Sometimes I'll have coffee or something, but like that's it. I don't eat anything. It's. And once in a while I eat breakfast, but most of the time when I eat breakfast now, it's at night. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna have a breakfast dinner. I'm gonna cook eggs and screamy eggs, some screamy eggs and some sausage and something, and eat that. So there you go. The life of me. That was boring. All right. So to start off with, well, first of all, where's T Money? Did she pass out? Where's Captain T, the pirate queen?
So I don't know, man. She's got that weird schedule now with the teaching gig. So I mean,
yeah, I'm getting ready to start that. I mean, yeah.
Oh, you're gonna be on it too. Yeah, just all hours of the night. Because I guess you're teaching children in China, and they live in China. So
yes,
the prime time for your classes and to get student stuff seems to be between like 11 p.m. and like 4 a.m. So keep some weird hours with that.
Well, she's on what? In the western part of Canada, so she's
in mountain time.
I don't know why her time difference is so funky. I don't know. Mine would be like from 4 a.m. to like 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. But there's two different times you teach. So All right. We just had a new member join. We got James O'Mahony. Well, James O'Mahony, welcome. Thank you for that, my friend. Very glad to have you here. He's been here a while watching us. Thank you for becoming a new member.
He is an RSG sire.
He is. Oh my god.
He is one of my guildies.
Oh my god.
Thank you, James.
So usually we start off the show. Go ahead and get your questions in. Finn's getting those scooped up. We usually talk a little bit about what's on everybody's mind with this week in Galaxy Heroes. They finally started putting out some stuff and talking again, and more than the Q&A. So I'll throw it to you, Warrior. I mean, I know you're not playing anymore, but are you keeping up or anything? What's on your mind about the game or anything like that?
Yeah, so it sounds like they've the prairie dog came out of his hole and saw his shadow.
Right.
And so there's
6 more weeks of PAX.
No, there's 2 more weeks of PAX.
Oh, there you go.
Then they'll start to bring out content.
Which is more PAX.
What's that?
New content equals more PAX.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it sounds like they're finally off of their winter break, maybe. But they might actually start bringing some more stuff in. Sounds like Grand Arena Championship started back up on the 23rd. So yay, something to do.
Yeah.
That's good. Sounds like there was something that they're gonna start working on that's a bug that has to do with something that's new, that's broken. Of course, they're not gonna fix anything that's anything that has to do with money. They're gonna try and work on because it's new and broken and people are spending money on it. But sounds like Arnold made a video on the Resistance, and that when the new Ray comes out in March, the end of March, that will be meta. So something to look forward to in another quarter. You guys will have a new meta in another quarter. So yay, I guess. So there's that. And then First Order, no love, but that might be meta, maybe. Sounds like that for ships, there's two more ships coming out. There's the First Order and a Resistance capital ship coming out. They just kind of after the thought, just like, oh, by the way, there's those ships coming out. So that's kind of interesting. Interested to know how well those will do ship-wise. I'm a ships guy, so always was a ships guy anyway. So kind of interested to see how they do. First Order, I feel like there's a great opportunity with that because there was already some good First Order ships in the game, and the First Order ships really deserved a First Order capital ship, and they had a great opportunity with those ships to build a potential good team with that if they just tweaked a couple of the kits. And so look for a possibility of them tweaking a couple of the First Order ships. And I've noticed them doing that from time to time when they bring out new ships or new characters, that they go back in time and tweak a couple of the character kits. So they might be tweaking some of the ship kits. So if you have some of your First Order ships, kind of up there, then that might be a good thing. That the First Order capital ship might be probably where it's at. Also, I would say that they might lean towards the like 2 different directions. This is kind of a jerk move on their part, but this is probably what's going to happen. They're probably going to lean towards the characters being stronger on one faction, and then the ships being stronger on the other faction, just to force you to have to develop all of them, but to where you have to choose one side or the other. What I mean by this is for the factions, First Order may be strong, but I could see the Resistance actually getting the edge on characters in regular arena, and then I could see for ships the actual First Order getting the edge on ships as far as meta in arena, and so them kind of giving the edge in like meta. So as far as like who's going to be the slightly better, meta defining a thing. But then that would force you to actually have to develop both, because the characters and ships are kind of interconnected. So I could kind of see them doing something like that, because then it forces you to develop both. which kind of stinks. And then you're stuck with both. So anyway, I could kind of see something to that effect or to that end. And it also forces you to work on some of the older first order. And then if you want a good first order team, you have to develop the newer ones also, which forces your hand at developing everything first order and everything resistance, which kind of stinks. But that's kind of the way that they want it to be. So yeah, I think that's the way it's looking anyway. First order is going to be really, really good as a kind of a PvP style team for Grand Arena Championships and Territory Wars, and then Resistance being kind of a really good team for probably Arena for your Crystal income and stuff. I'm glad they're finally back and starting to move, but it sounds like they came out and said State of the Galaxy, which is known as kind of a thing they do every quarter to say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is where we're at. They brought it out a month late, and they said nothing. And they said, by the way, we'll tell you something next quarter. Mm-hmm. So that was also a bit kind of sad for everybody who plays the game. So that sucks, you guys. But at least we know that you guys are getting stuff next quarter. You guys will get some new characters that came out in the beginning of December. You'll get them 4 months after they were entered into the game. So you'll get those eventually.
Maybe. Possibly. We don't know. All right. Good old Maurice. What is on your mind, my friend?
Well, it's a beautiful day here in South Carolina.
Okay. Thank you for the weather update.
Yeah, it's a nice day. Might go and get some disc golf in today. Mm-hmm. Perhaps have a margarita at the local Mexican restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything in the game, perhaps, on your mind?
I mean, that's just kind of hoarding everything, man.
I know, I'm hoarding like a madman.
I'm getting my, kind of touching on a lot of the things Warrior said. I think he is onto something and definitely right that you're going to have to make a decision one way or the other. But at the same time, kind of have your hand forced into both of the factions. I'm working on First Order. I can see how Resistance is more appealing right now. The Finn and Poe are good, but they are behind paywalls. The team is incomplete. Whereas the First Order, the Resistance, I've got it. Both of the characters, Gear 13, with relics on the test account. I'm using them, and the team is very good, but it does seem like it's missing something. So that team seems to, the Galactic Ray will probably bring something to that team. Mm-hmm. More inspired mechanics, really get the team really good. The First Order seems a little more complete. Like the character kits themselves, especially like Sith Trooper, even Hux, they're a little more simple, a little easier to use, just kind of throw in. At the very least, I think First Order will definitely be a better defensive team, and the Resistance could perhaps be the better offensive team, because now you've got all these kind of prep-like mechanics, where you can pass the inspired around, you can give certain characters certain abilities, you keep giving, give certain characters this so they counter, give, all sorts of mechanics that you want to physically, manually control, whereas First Order, you kind of just pop them in there and they just go. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm really excited to see what the community comes up with, just in terms of theory crafting, now that we have all these, once these characters become farmable, every faction has 10 plus characters now. So it'll be really interesting to see what people come up with in terms of teams and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right. All right. We ready to start doing some questions there, Dr. Finn?
We are.
All right. Let's start rocking and rolling.
Okay. So first question, let's get to Warrior from Apropos Wooin. And the question is, getting Malik is annoying me. Any tips? Because the Malik event is now in the game.
Oh yeah, I saw that dropped a couple days ago, and I can't say that I wasn't slightly tempted to go and re-download the game and go into my Scissorman account and just snag him really quick, because I am prepared on my Scissorman account, and then delete the game and have him at least on my account. But I was like, no, not gonna do that. Make the video, make content.
Yeah,
but anyway. I know, right? But anyway, no. So the dark side's pretty easy, basically. I'll go over dark side first and then light side. The dark side's simple. You basically allow your Darth Revan to do all the killing because he gets those stacks of whatever it's called. I can't remember. As long as he's doing the killing. So you injure people, then let Revan do the killing. When Revan does the killing, he gets the stacks. Once you get those stacks up, he then can go mano a mano. Even if your other individuals die, the Darth Revan's going to end up just molly-whopping for 50, 60 grand and killing Malik. Whether you get a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, really doesn't matter as long as you win. And then you get your 75 shards because you need your 150 to get Malik unlocked. So that one's pretty easy. You just have to take your time, be patient. Don't rush it. And kill the droids on the sides for those kills with Revan. Don't rush. The light side one is definitely the hard one. That's the one that you've got to take your time. There are 6 of those in the fields, so to speak, the stasis fields or whatever, the Jedi or whatever that you can kill. There are certain buffs that you don't want him to get, and certain buffs that you're okay with him getting. And the buffs that you want him to have, you want to actually damage those characters down farther than the other ones, but you do want to kind of work on some of those other buffs that you don't want him to have on those characters, because each character in the stasis fields, there's like 6 of them. You do want to damage those because at some point you're going to have to kill him before he sucks the life out of them, because you want to kill them so he doesn't kill them, so that way you deny him from getting those buffs, because there's a few buffs over there which is massive boosts. So, and you don't want him to get those massive boosts. But if you damage those guys and they're lower than the other ones, like such as tenacity or whatever, then he's going to end up sucking their life first, because he takes from whoever has the lowest health when he gets below 50% health. The droids really, it depends now on your offense on your mission. Okay, so your offense on your mission is basically what's going to hinge this entire thing. If you've got a team where you have really, 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 really high offense, I'm talking about out of this world high offense, you don't even need armor shred on the droids. You're going to kill the droids so fast that you really just need to kill the droids on the left and right. And you need to put the armor shreds all on Malik till you have 4 armor shreds on Malik. And then you can start going to town, killing the guys in stasis fields and strategically working them down. And there are tons of videos on how to work down those individuals. If you have an average on offense with your mission and some of those characters, then you're going to need to put probably 1 armor shred on each of the droids, possibly 1 armor shred on one of the droids and maybe not an armor shred on the other one, so that way you can kill one of the droids fast and maybe the other one will be a little bit slower. But you'll have to figure this out as to what's average for you as to how fast you can kill these droids. You'll figure it out, because if you can't keep the stacks on him under 10, then you don't have enough offense. And if you are keeping your stacks under 3, you have way too much offense. I had a friend that was playing this where he kept the stacks under 3, and he had no armor shred on anybody yet. And he was just like, what's going on? And I'm like, where's your offense on mission? And it was like at like 5,500. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude, you have way so much offense. Like nobody ever has that much. So that's my point, is you've got to, it's relevant to how much. And he had almost too much offense, and he was defeating things too fast. And so it's actually okay that you don't have a ton of offense if you don't. Just note that it will change the strategy of who gets armor shred, who doesn't get armor shred, and how you defeat things. So armor shred on the droids left and right help you to go through them a little faster, because they're going to reduce the number of stacks that you have on Malik, and you got to keep him under 10, because once you lose all those guys on the left and the right, the stasis fields, you're gonna then have to go straight after Malik, and you're only gonna have however many turns are on the cooldowns. If he's got 10 over his head, you got 20 turns. You know you're going to have to like 20 turns and you're it. And so you need to have that at 10 or less. And you're going to want at least 2, but hopefully 3 or 4 of those armor shreds. So this is the thing. Armor shred lands when he, from what I remember, from when he crits. And so you want to try and land armor shred when the droids are up because it's more targets. So you want to have more droids for more targets, and you're also going to want to be able to have you want to target him, but you also want to have for him you want to be able to. And you guys can jump in here and send any other things. I'm trying to think of other things in my video, because I have a video. I try and call out all the tiny little thought processes that I have in my video, because I do have a video you can watch, and then other people have videos.
Yeah, we've got a video on it too, and the key thing is the offensive mission, but it's manipulating him to get there's I think there's 4 stasis fields. The 1, 2. If you start from the left and go.
There's 3 on the left and 3 on the right, isn't there?
No, I thought it was 2 and 2.
2 and 2.
Yeah, there's like critical hit immunity. There's tenacity up. There's the star ability that I don't remember what it does, and then there's
the 2 on the left are bad. You don't want him to have those. The 2 on the right are good. He can have those.
Right. So you wanted to get the crit immunity because that prevents a lot of the fears if they because you can't get critted. So you take that, you hit that one low, and then you just work on Malik and keeping the stacks, and and then you can work on the other ones, but you want that one. It's right next to him as you're looking on the screen to his right, and then when he first pops, he gets that. Then after that, it's about controlling the stacks, and I always recommend to people just armor shred the hell out of Malik. I don't care how much offense you have on. Mission is just going to make it that much easier for you when you get to that final stage, and even when you're in the final stage, if you lose, because sometimes he'll hit your mission for something crazy. If she goes down, it's fine because you still can kill him. Don't just go like, oh god, I lost mission, let me start. No, just keep going, because at that stage in the final part, it's just about just burning him down, and getting the armor shreds is very, very key. You've got to armor shred him at least 4 stacks, but you manipulate it that way. So once he gets that crit and goes down, then you can start burning the other stasis fields down. But you always kill the droids. So the droids are up, you're hitting the droids. It's plain and simple.
The other thing is there's just one thing about timing that really does help is there's kind of a time to like go after Malik at the very end, and just before you take out that 4th individual, once you take out that 4th individual, he kind of goes into like enraged mode. You have to like go after him and stuff. Try to get him down to almost 50%, and then get that 4th guy, and then mark him with Revan and go after him, because then as soon as you mark him and go after him, he'll go under 50% and he'll start to freak out, but you'll mark him and you'll go after him, and he won't have that 4th guy in the stasis field to pull from. And it'll make it a little bit easier if he's already at if he's at nearly full health and you kill that 4th stasis person, you then have to take him all the way from a full health from enraged and take him all the way down, and it is that much more difficult. So timing is easier to kind of whittle down casually while you have those droids up and stuff and armor shredding him and stuff, when he's just not as big a threat, and you can get half of his health down, and then just hammer him once you've got him down almost halfway.
So there's lots of videos out there and stuff, and if you guys are having any problems, you can message me. I mean, I've helped so many people get on a Zoom call and be like, do this, do that. Don't do that. No, don't hit that, and walk them through it. And then once they see how it works, like, oh, it works. Well, yeah, it works, because we suffered through many hours of getting our ass kicked before we figured it out. So it can be done. And so don't worry about it, guys. And there are videos. You can check out Warrior's video. You can check out the video we have. I'm sure Good Old Maurice and Team Money have one on Operation Metaverse.
Yeah, she, like me, I'm not always the best at explaining how to do these, just simply because I go in there just attack. I'm a big proponent of, if something doesn't go right, retreat immediately and try again. Where is it okay if I post the video in the Reddit post you made?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, hers seemed to help a lot of people. She's much better at explaining the event. So I'll post the video. There's a Reddit link in that video too.
Sure.
I think it's very impressive that Warrior remembered all that off memory.
I remember all that crap
how
too. After doing it that many times and getting the
Yeah.
stuff. Plus, I've helped a lot of people get them, so it kind of gets ingrained into your brain. Like
now, question: he should be moving to the Journey Guide after this one. Is he already in the Journey Guide?
Yeah, so he's going to go in this, from what I understand, and I could be wrong because I'm not playing the game anymore, but he's going to be here, and then he's actually going to probably disappear for another month or two, and then go into the Journey Guide in like a month or two, because he's supposed to be a full year before he goes into the Journey Guide. According to their logic, they said full year, and it was like March, because it was Darth Revan was February, Malik was March. So technically, when you get Kylo and when you get Rey, you'll get Malik as perma events in the guide. So he's here as a temporary, and if people who are playing him look, he should have an expiration date right now. But again, I don't know because I'm not in the game. I can't look. But yeah, I think he's a temporary right now. But he will come back here in a few months to be a permanent part of the game.
All right. So hope that helps you out. Next question. Let's do it, Dr. Finn.
Okay. Next question for good old Maurice. Question from What Else 73 says, question: how many new quote unquote duplicate characters do you think we'll see this year?
Ooh, well, we got another Poe, we got another Finn. Well, we're definitely getting another Rey and Kylo. A lot of people are speculating that I think General Leia is coming to the game. That's a possibility. Perhaps, I mean, there's always room for, I guess, another Han Solo of some sort. So I don't, that's
maybe a Chewie. Can we get an actual Resistance Chewie now, since he's actually part of the Resistance in this one versus the
possibly? I personally would think it'd be pretty cool if they went back and maybe added a tag to his existing veteran smuggler one. We did confirm Clash was on our show the other night. He is #1 fanboy of the vets, and he confirmed that was actually indeed veteran Chewie. I guess he can tell somehow. I don't know, but in the videos they did show Chewbacca, so he said that was veteran Chewbacca. I don't know. Perhaps we could. I guess we could use another Chewie. Why not? Right?
Yeah, why not?
I could see them kind of going down. They did say they were going to revisit 7, 8, 9, but I think it'd be very foolish for them to delay anything Mandalorian related, because they kind of screwed the pooch with the timing of these movie characters. Right, they're a little late. So, if they want to get on the Mandalorian characters, they'll probably switch direction at some point, go that route. They almost have to, right? That show's so popular, it'd be foolish not to add anything from that. But I guess a lot of times it's not really their decision. EA, Disney, everybody tells them kind of what they can and can't do in the game. So,
do you think they miss? Okay, so this is an interesting thing. So with Rey being announced for Rey and Kylo basically being announced for March, right? That's probably going to coincide pretty close with like the DVD release of the movie, right?
Probably so, yeah.
Do you think that was maybe their plan all along? Like, we were looking at it, and I tend to think it's the better idea to coincide it with the movie rather than the DVD release. But do you think that was their plan maybe just all along, and it's not? I don't know if that's just their marketing strategy, because I know they've released stuff at DVD releases before. So
in the past they did, but it was follow-up characters, not the legendary characters. In the past, it was always when the movie came out, they would release the better deal characters, like the ones that they wanted the money grab on, and then their follow-up characters were like Pow, Biston. That was what the characters that came out during the movie release 3 months later, because the movie would come out, it would generate some new people, and they'd come into the game, download the game, and they would still see Rogue One characters coming out, and they're like, oh, there's new stuff coming out still. So, and now it's in reverse. They're like behind the curve, which they've admitted they're behind the curve. There's no hiding this. Like they're not like lying to us. They're like actually saying the truth. Like, yo, we're way behind. I mean, they're literally 4 months behind where they want to be on their own calendar. And then for The Mandalorian, I hate to say it, but they've already said they have no plans for The Mandalorian anytime soon. So I don't see anything from The Mandalorian coming out in 2020. at all. I do believe 100% Mandalorian stuff will come into the game, but I don't see anything on the calendar for 12 months because they're literally 4 months behind in 2019. They got 2019 stuff coming out in March of 2020. And so they got a calendar that's out 6 months to 12 months. And the stuff that's for 2020, the first 6 months of 2020, is now in September of 2020. There's nothing that they had planned for 2020 that's going to even probably be finished in 2020. There's stuff now in 2020 they probably had on the calendar that's now going to be cut because they're behind. So I don't see Mando coming out. I hate to say it, but it sucks.
All right.
Next question. Back to work.
Okay. So Warrior, question from Raider Nation says, with the new Resistance tunes in game, who would you run and what's the attack order? I'm thinking Jedi Training Rey, Resistance Finn and Poe, BB-8, and not sure of the fifth yet.
C-3PO. That's what I would do, C-3PO. BB-8 and C-3PO together are a wicked combination, honestly. And your damage dealing is really coming from the two new characters with their new abilities and the damage output. Plus, Rey is taken to another level with them. Plus, I don't watch a ton of Arnold at all, but I saw that new video with him, and I was pretty impressed when he threw that team together. Actually, very impressed. And he had one video or one team where he had with C-3PO, and it was chomping through fools with Darth Revan and all sorts of other teams. So I'd probably do C-3PO for now.
There you go.
Until you get, the new Rey in the game.
Yeah, new Rey is going to be able to do anything. She can do anything she wants. She's Rey. Okay. Next question, Finn.
Did you see that video, by the way, Ranger?
No.
You didn't?
No.
It's basically the same theory crafted team I talked about on Wednesday.
Okay.
I told you that team is going to be like wrecking even before Galactic Legend Rey is going to be out. Because that combination with Finn and Poe with the Inspired giving like 10% max health damage when they have that Inspire thing is ridiculous. I'm telling you, that thing is going to be meta very quickly. I just don't think it can beat Skywalker.
Yeah, I guess it's a whole different story.
What was that, Maurice?
Well, yeah, like it does. We talked about this in our show. Like if you use the right combination of characters, with all the kits combined, you're going to do your basic damage. If you're using the Jedi Training Rey lead, you're going to do an exposed damage, right? And then when you remove that expose, you're going to do an additional 10% max health damage. And then you're going to do an additional 5%. It takes away protection. It does
protection. Yep.
Damage. So, and Poe himself is throwing debuffs everywhere. So, and it's very important if he's inspired, he lands 3 dots for 1 turn, right? You look at it, and you're like 1 turn dots, but when those 3 dots, that means they only have 1 turn to cleanse it. If those 3 dots expire, they're going to be doing 3 dots worth of damage plus an additional 15% protection damage. Like there's all sorts of passive damage on this team. It's going to be very good. It's very flexible. Like Arnold made that video where it counters Darth Revan, and it does. I mean, I watched his stream. He's in there. It only took him 3 or 4 tries to really get down Darth Revan. Like it was. I mean, but there's so many Resistance characters. You can use 3PO, sure, but you can pull them off on your Padme team if you want to counter something like we'll say the Bugs or some of the other like Night Sisters or so. There are other pieces there. I think Resistance Troopers pretty cool. Holdo is actually usable now with Finn because she'll get a lot of passive taunts and crit immunity. All the characters are usable, and you can just kind of plug and play for what you just get your heart set on what you want to use them for offensively, and then just you got the pieces already. I don't think you need. They're kind of slow, but then again, you've got BB-8. You can always just throw in another droid.
Wait, who's slow?
The team. The
They're
team
slow?
itself is kind of slow, yeah, because Poe is fast, Finn is not. But you want Finn.
I think you have it the other way around. Finn is actually 1 speed faster than BB-8.
Is he?
BB-8 has a 182.
In my face.
Finn is 183. Yeah.
Okay, in my face.
I was saying that because I remember the turn order because he had asked about.
Oh, he
the
sure is. Yeah.
Order.
Sorry, guys.
Because Finn. Yeah. What you do on his turn is you turn meter swap with Poe, and then Poe gets Inspire.
Bonus,
Exactly. And then Poe can put Inspire on BB-8, if you can time it right so that BB-8 is the one to go right after Finn, then BB-8 is going to be able to do attacks with counterattack. He'll gain turn meter depending on who it is. So you have to work on his turn meter correctly, because if you use 3PO or R2, then he's going to gain that extra turn meter from his unique, right? Because now there's 2 droids instead of 1. So you do have to be really careful about how you time it. But if you can get Finn to go, turn meter swap with Poe, and then get BB-8 to go and give Rey turn meter, and then Rey calls BB-8, you've gotten about like 3 attacks with 10% max health damage before they can even go. Because Finn is so freaking... Finn has, I want to say, he's somewhere in like the top 5 or something in speed with the 183
Yeah, he is a way.
base.
I'm looking at it now, yeah. I guess I'm just used to old Finn being so dog slow. Yeah, that's
I know.
But then you have, like, if you do that turn order that you're talking about, you have 3 inspired characters immediately, right? And those characters, all 3 of them, hopefully before the other team even goes, and now have 100% crit chance, 50% defense, 50% tenacity. You know, that's all resistance allies when Finn's inspired, actually, and then they're gonna have all sorts of other benefits too. It's kind of a complicated team, but I think, like, I'm playing with it actually right now, just kind of fooling around on a test account. Once you play it a few times, you start getting used to it. And it's complicated, but it's pretty fun. So I am looking forward to these characters.
Yeah, it's a different thought process on BB-8 too, because you might actually want to slow him down to go after Finn and Poe, so his first attack actually has the Inspires. So it is a different mechanism that you're looking at for BB-8 potentially with that team. You can go fast and get Jedi Training Rey to go first. It just changes the dynamic of the team a little bit. So it's a really fun team.
All right.
So next question then to you, good old Maurice. Let's go to the other side. What else 73 wants to know: how are First Order Sith Trooper and Hux looking now that they've been around for a while?
Sith Trooper is absolutely disgusting. He is a character. Even if you don't have First Order, you have Sith. I would highly, highly recommend you guys start to save gear and resources for him. He is extremely versatile. He's awesome. You put him on any team at all, and for nothing else, he's just another threat. Even if you put him on your Traya team, then your opponent has the decision: well, do I go after Nihilus or do I go after Nihilus? Sith Trooper is going to level my team. If I go after Sith Trooper, Nihilus is going to get a chance to annihilate somebody. So he does insane amounts of damage. He's great on both of the First Order and Sith teams. You can throw him anywhere. That Sith First Order tag, when it first came out, I was like, huh? But now, I mean, I've got him on the test count too. And actually, I caught Cubs fan Han stream the other night, and he was kind of fighting. People on these test counts, not very many active people. They have the same teams, and so I threw a Trey and Sith Trooper team in there, and it was doing pretty well. First Order wise, I think if you use that Hux lead, he does wicked amounts of damage. You're talking about that AOE that can basically take out a whole team. if it's like R7 and modded, it's taking out your whole team type of damage. Hux is very, very good. I'm not sure the best. I'm not sure. We'll see in this Grand Arena. I have a lot better grasp on how to clock him, how to use him, how he does defensively, offensively. He brings a lot to the table. He's cool because you can pull out your old characters, like First Order TIE Pilot's very good underneath him, good damage. If you wanted to use the new Sith Trooper Fox and First Order TIE Pilot, you're talking about that with that Hux lead, that assist is probably going to take out any character in the game not named like Malik. It's insane how much damage that assist can generate. I think Warrior is onto something though. At the beginning of the show, he's like, one faction might be more ship centric and the other more character driven. And I think First Order, if we do get that Hux capital ship, I think there's a lot of potential there for the fleet itself. The ships are a little better than the Resistance ships, so I don't know. You're going to need it. You definitely want Sith Trooper. It doesn't matter what you have in your roster, you're going to want him. He's pretty incredible. Hux is. If you guys are heavily invested in First Order, then definitely get Hux. He's very good, but if you don't, Sith Trooper is a very safe bet, I guess, in summary.
All right.
Next question for Warrior. Question from What Else 73. He says, do you think we'll see a 400 speed this year?
A character with just a natural base 400 speed. No, I don't think so. And the reason for that is they already regret like mods, kind of in a sense. They've tried to fix that over time. They tried to devalue mods in a way that made mods less important. It didn't really work, but they tried with mods 2.0. They tried to put then a higher emphasis on things like defense and health, and they did a decent job at that. I'll give them that. They did a good job, like, hey, 100,000 health on this character, and so then people started modding for different stats and making speed less relevant. But that's still not quite true with Arena, because at the end of the day, if you have the same teams, a bottom line, whichever team goes first is probably going to win. So for Arena, speed still matters. And then there's still always a couple of fast characters, that matter. So because whichever one goes first, it wins. So speed's still relevant, and they know it. And so speed kills. It's tough. So I don't see them coming out with a character that has a 400 speed. Speed has been a problem for a very long time. They've tried to make it less relevant, not more relevant, and I don't see them bringing that to the forefront to make it more relevant. That would be an affront to everything they've been trying to do for the last 2 years to make it less relevant.
Okay. Good on Maurice. Next question to you from JT Tip. Says, how do you use Darth Maul?
Oh,
You don't.
well,
Boy.
somebody else should probably answer this, because this is one meta I skipped. Like, Darth Maul was very meta for a while. At the time, I think that the team was like Darth Maul, Nihilus, maybe Savage, and then you have like one character. A lot of people used like Kylo at the time, which, this is years ago, so I just, I guess you could use Sith Trooper as your tank. You want one taunting or non-Sith ally on your Zeta Maul team to kind of absorb the damage. Nest would be a great option, probably. But with these feats, you're going to use them offensively. You clock them all a certain way. Grande Patron, actually, years ago, he had the calculator. You guys remember that?
Yeah,
the Sith calculator.
The Sith assassin, and you had a certain way, and then but oh lordy.
I'm sorry, man. I don't have any experience with Darth Maul myself. I'm not.
Well, the problem with Darth Maul is it's just an outdated kit and strategy. It's an evasion kind of thing, and that's why you don't see it unless it's like a backline. Just I need a team on defense kind of thing. That if you do see it at all, right?
Because even then it's kind of difficult, because the problem is there's not enough Sith to go around anymore.
No, not with
right. Darth Revan claims some of them. Traya claims another set of them. EP is usually with Vader, and even though the rest of the team is like Empire most of the time now with EP and Vader, you're still taking away two pretty decent Sith and EP and Vader. So who does that?
It leaves you like Maul, Sidious,
Savage, maybe Sith Trooper,
Sith Assassin. No, you want to keep Sith Trooper with your Traya.
Sith Trooper probably goes with either Traya or Revan, depending on your team. He fits into one of those. Marauder probably goes with the other one, so he doesn't fit there. You're left with like Sidious, right? And there's not enough Sith to fill out the Maul team, unfortunately. And not to mention
the cleanup. You use him to clean up Malik. Like if you've got Malik and he's all by his lonesome, you might need some healing immunity. So you bring in, you need Sith, or you need Savage to like smash Malik once he gets under 50%. You bring in, the Sith Maul as the lead, so they kind of dodge a little, and you bring in Savage for the smash down at the very end, and you bring the rest for some healing immunity because you can bring in Sidious for the healing immunity, and you just smash him a little bit, bring him under health, and then Savage finishes him off, and you got a little bit of dodge to try to hopefully survive. That was a cleanup team that I used a little bit, but it doesn't always work because he'll just suck the life out of all your crappy Sith.
Yeah.
And not to mention, they've done I don't know if I'd call it decent, because I don't know if I necessarily agree with them doing it, but they've done a good job on trying to devalue evasion leads for a while now, right? Because we don't really see old Ben, for example, in the lead anymore. Maul as a team isn't there anymore because they have so many characters now that have like attributes to them that if their attacks get dodged, they have some other mechanic that goes into place that's considerably worse than just getting hit with the attack. And so evasion leads are like falling by the wayside. You don't really see them anymore except for cleanup now. So it's unfortunate, but Maul doesn't get a huge amount of use.
one thing you got to remember, if you're free to play and you're not in Gear 13 relics, evasion meta still exists. Okay. If you are in relics, evasion meta doesn't exist. There are a ton of relics, about 60% of relics, that increase accuracy and eliminate any possibility for evasion because of accuracy increases, and eliminate that potential. So relics did that to a lot of characters. Like 60% of the characters got accuracy increases that eliminated that. Not all, but about 60%. So that was their work in to kind of, basically prevent that for a lot of the characters, attacking characters that you didn't want to have to deal with that. But if you're not in relics, if you're an individual who's been playing for a year and a half and you're not in relics and you've got a bunch of characters and you're like, fighting people that are at 1.5 million or 2.5 million, and you've got a bunch of non-relic characters versus non-relic characters, it's still relevant because you're not in relics, you're not facing stuff like that. People probably aren't modding with accuracy arrows and things like that. So you probably are still dealing with the dodgy Dodgersons of 2 years ago. So you might be able to get away with some of that, but relics eliminated the dodge meta completely. So if we're talking about people who are playing with relics, it doesn't exist anymore. But people who aren't playing with relics, it's a possibility. You just have to keep that in mind as well.
Ranger, how does Rex keep dodging your attacks?
Well, it's not just Rex; it's just everybody. When I'm going for Cabber, I always get that one dodge every match.
Joe says you're about to die.
It's just unbelievable. It's like, oh, I've got this in the bag. Wait, dodge? What do you mean dodge? It happens every fight, man. It's ridiculous.
If you guys are looking for ways to accomplish these feats, the easiest thing that comes to my mind is simply just use your Traya Scion versus bugs, right? And then use your Darth Maul, your Sith Assassin, your Savage, whoever, and just try to clean up the bugs once they basically, kill themselves from the assist. That's they might not survive. Like my Maul's Gear 11, some of the Sith Assassin, I'm sure, is a character a lot of people don't have. So you can throw them in there, they might die. So you're basically gambling that they survive, and you can pick off a couple enemies with it, get your feats done. If you do have a Xenomol and you're not real comfortable with him, J-Tip, I would suggest maybe trying against some like lower geared, like, kind of stall comps just to kind of practice with it. Maybe like the Kira teams people put, or maybe like a real poor first order team. Maul does have the AoE days and will shut down the first order. So, I mean, it's, you can.
I was going to say, if the focus is just the feats, right? So if you're trying to create a team for it, that's one thing. If you're just looking at it for the feat, right? Couldn't they put Maul and Savage on the Traya team? Because you don't really need anything else for Night Sisters, right? Just the three of them can dominate, so you could just throw in Maul and Savage.
Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, just use the Triumvirate and then just stick them in there. They're probably going to die, and you might not get a chance to do it anyway. But that's kind of what I'm planning on doing. Bug's a very common team. Night Sisters is a very common team. Yeah, and Trey is a hard counter to both of those. So you can kind of maybe get some lucky shots with Maul, because if you can't pick off enemies with Maul, he does increase his strength. He does get stronger and hit a little harder, so it does get a little easier. And Maul actually got a stealth boost with that protection increase that all the characters got a few months ago. They kind of caught the old characters up to date. Maul got a huge protection bump. If you guys haven't used him in a while, I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised with that. He is actually a little more durable than he used to be. He used to be very squishy, very slow.
He's got much more protection and stuff.
Yeah, so he's a little better than he used to be. So,
all right. Next question, Finn.
Okay. So Warrior, question from Darcion 1972. He says, I'm severely outmatched in GAC with all the opponents. I'm thinking of going for Carbonite instead of losing my mind trying to win unwinnable rounds. What's the best way to get this achievement?
Honestly, I've never gone for it, so I don't know. I think you just sign up for it and then just put one character or one team in the front row, and then that's it. Just put one team.
Shaking his head.
That answer it.
Sorry. So you're right. You put in one team, but you don't put in characters, and you don't put it in the front. Because I was going for Carbonite last time and had somebody else that was doing the same thing. If you put it in the front, you don't get the points for the back territory. So that actually makes it so that you gain less points. What you want to do is you're want to make your opponent gain as many points as possible. So what you do is you just put in one team in the back, not in the front, but in the back. because you want them to get the points for the ones in the front, right? You want them to claim that territory since they consider it a victory over that territory. So definitely put it in the back, not in the front.
Interesting. So it's a guarantee if they're doing the same thing, because you may have other people that are crap bagging it just like you. Interesting. Yep. Man, you got to consider all the crap baggers out there.
Yep. Right. That's fair.
That's exactly what I did. And I caught myself carbonite. There's one other thing too, right? Where if you face somebody that does the same thing, right? And again, that happened to me in the last GAC where I faced in 2 different rounds, 2 people that were sandbagging and putting in one team, but they didn't do it as efficiently as I did because ships changes things too. So I won, quote unquote, won those by losing. So I ended up not getting the victory. And one of them got screwed out of carbonite actually because of it. But if you are facing other people that have that, right, you have a chance of still winning based on tie breaks. So if you put one team in the back and somebody else puts one team in the back, it ends up being a tie in points. You can still win it on tie breaks. So the other thing too is to make sure that you're not entering in a round of GAC if you are within about 3,000, what was the number? I think it was like 3,300 or something, but I didn't calculate it for the 5s. But if you're within about 3,300 of switching over territories, just don't sign up. So if you keep on losing by just putting in one team, you're only going to gain, I think it's like 80 or something at a time. You should be fine for logging into every single GAC. But if you win some matches and you gain that 1,000 for the victory, you're going to start increasing your points. You don't want to get all the way to the point where if you accidentally win, you're going to get over the top, even though you only put one team on defense, just because you got screwed with matchups and faced somebody else that's sandbagging too. So that would be the way to do it. And I'll just throw it out there. That's the way that you do it if you're a dick. And I was a dick on the last one, so that's just the way it is. Because by putting only one team on defense, you're screwing your opponent. The other way to do it, if you want to be a little bit more friendly to your opponents, is to just play one GAC with all your teams, but just lose it, and then don't sign up for the rest of them. You only have to participate in one GAC in order to be eligible for the league bonus. So you can sign up for the first round and don't sign up for the rest of it. Then you won't have people mad at you for what you did. But I'm sure there's some people mad at me for what I did.
What was that term you used? You had to outdick your opponent?
Yeah.
What was that? Yeah.
Yep. I outdicked my opponents in 2 consecutive rounds in the same GAC. It was the most ridiculous thing because they lost because they weren't as.
That'd be infuriating to me if I'm trying to cheese it up and then accidentally win. That would infuriate me.
So it wasn't just the winning. So one of them was still fine. One of them actually got kicked out of carbonite because he won against me because he didn't do it as efficiently.
On top of each other.
I hope you sleep well at night.
Oh, I'm fine.
Does, yeah.
I'm not the one that created the system. We asked CG to fix the problem of not filling in all the spots, right? And they just auto-filled it if you put nothing.
Just get rid of the stupid feet. The feet is stupid. Get rid of that.
Yeah. That's a whole separate argument. But yeah, and Darsayan is like, screw being friendly. That's right. But yeah, there is a science to losing in GAC too, if you want to be, if you really want to be efficient at it.
Sure.
Here, I'll give you a different question here, Warrior. So, question from Wolffell. What order would you level and gear Separatist droids for use with Newt and Dooku before having a full Grievous team? Or do you do Grievous passively, or is it a top priority if not able to gear 13 him for a while?
So for my Scissorman account, I was leaving them all passive until I had them all 7 stars, and then once I had them all 7 stars, I was going to throw them all at the same time into my favorites, and I was going to work them all at the same time. So I didn't have them all 7 stars, and so I had left them all just out of my favorites. And then once I got them all 7 stars, I would have worked them all kind of equally. The good news is most of them are all old characters, which means that their gear requirements are actually going to be not atrocious. Not, there's a few tanks, and so tanks are tanks. The tanks suck as far as gearing requirements go, but they're old gearing requirements, not new gearing requirements, which means that they're average. Not bad, but not good. And then as far as General Grievous, in comparison to the others, personally, that team is only as good as your General Grievous. So I would make him of equal priority for that team, if not a slight edge over the team, because I've seen those teams with, gear 9 and 10 characters, but with a General Grievous gear 13 and do really well. So I would probably have General Grievous as a slight edge of priority, and then the rest of the team just slightly at or below his priority. But I'd work on the team equally when the team's ready, but I wouldn't worry about the team until the team, is ready. So what I mean by that is have them all at 7 stars and all available. And once you have the team 7 stars and available, then throw them in your favorites and work on that team as a unit, and just start really working on them. And anytime there is a conflict of gear, you got a piece of gear that's glowing on 2 of the characters, it's like on General Grievous or another, put it on General Grievous first. Always make him your priority.
Yep.
Okay. And I know, Warrior, you don't have too much time left. So we have 2 around the corn questions and then a couple of fun questions for you. And then that'll hopefully get you right to your time here. So.
Oh, sure. Not a problem. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay. So first around the corn question is from Elliot Worsfold. And he says, do you think Holdo or the new Leia will command the Radis capital ship?
Probably not. Could.
Wait, probably not to Leia, right? So you think it's Holdo?
No, I don't think it's Holdo.
You think it might be the new Leia? So he was asking, do you think it's Holdo or a new Leia that will command it?
Okay, so it's gonna be Leia, and it's either gonna be a new Leia or the old Leia. An old Leia in the game, but I don't see an old Leia in the game that would be viable. So I think they're going to introduce a new Leia, probably a marquee Leia, and that would force everybody to buy the Leia if they want to use the new capital ship.
All right, Girl Maurice, what do you think?
I hope Holdo. I mean, Holdo is one of the characters that she's okay. She wasn't super well received. Not a lot of people have her.
I do.
The problem with Holdo is, from a money-making standpoint, she is incredibly easy to gear, right? So, like, if people were to kind of panic gear her, it wouldn't take people long at all. Because once you get over gear 9, like mine's gear 12 out of pure accident. Like, when you get, there's like a hump you get over, and it's just like green plus signs across the board, like very simple green and blue gear for like the higher levels. I hope it's Holdo. But you guys are probably right. It is probably Leia. I think Hux is definitely I'm hoping Hux is because he's a marquee character, so that makes sense. They can make some money off him still. So yeah.
If it is Holdo, right? So it sounds like we all think that it might be a new Leia, and I kind of tend to lean in that direction. Actually, I'm kind of thinking it might be 2. It'll be the first double commander capital ship with Holdo and Leia, actually. But even if let's just assume that it's Holdo. Do you think we might see the first movement of a capital ship if it has like a kamikaze attack with the capital ship?
I think that would be cool. Potentially, kind of like Thrawn's bomb. Instead, it's just Holdo gets it, kind of like Annihilate. Holdo gets it off, you win.
It's like a 12-turn cooldown to start. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That would be pretty neat.
That's it. That's the only ability. No other ability.
Yep.
Just reinforce.
Slowly starts ticking down.
Yeah. That would be cool, actually.
All right. Next around the corn from Michael H. He says, are there any teams that you had success with in Lightside TB besides Galactic Republic?
Yeah.
No.
No, yeah, it's called LITPH.
What
about you, Warrior? Anything else?
Resistance, Jedi, a little Resistance, a little Jedi, but not like super amazing or anything, but a little bit of luck on day one,
Jedi being Jedi Knight Revan, right?
Right.
Yeah. And you have to get lucky, too. I do decent with that one as long as Jolie doesn't die, but there have been some times where they just focus fire Jolie and he's just dead, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, you really got to relic Jolie, and that is something I do not want to do. He's favorited to get the gear 13, but I just... that's going to be tough for me to do. But
all right, let's get the fun questions here for Warrior, and then we'll get back to you with questions, good old Maurice. So Warrior, question from Darkside Ranger J 1999. He says, Warrior used to advocate that spending in the game was an investment. Was he doing this back then when he thought CG might have given him some kind of official, unofficial position?
Nope, not at all. I actually drank my own Kool-Aid. Back then, I thought that it was an investment into my. I thought it was an investment into my my channel. I thought it was an investment into YouTube. I thought that it was something that would benefit the user, the viewer. I was wrong, and I'm a big boy. I got big boy pants. I can pull my big boy pants up. Look what I can do. I can wear big pants too. No, I thought that, you know, if I bought packs and showed viewers that I could educate you guys on packs and make educated decisions. But you know what? I don't have to buy the pack to educate consumers on the product. That's like a bartender having to drink the whiskey to explain how the whiskey tastes. You don't have to do that. It was a false analogy that I bought into, and it was something that I was wrong on. So I for a long time felt like that was a kind of a need or a necessity. And when I was with Capital Games, they made a lot of promises like, hey, you know, we're going to get you developer accounts and things like this. And I thought, okay, well, if they do that, I won't have to spend, and that would actually save me money. So that would be cool. But they never ended up following through on those promises, which then led a lot of us YouTubers to believe then, well, we have to make our own developer account. And sadly, a lot of YouTubers still believe this. If you look at Mobile Gamer, his spending has gone up infinitely by thousands and thousands. Arnold has gone up by thousands and thousands. Both of them spent thousands. Darth microtransactions by thousands and thousands because they believe this. And I finally, about 3 months ago, came to the final recognition that I was totally believing a lie and realized that it was not something that was true, and that I was actually wrong. And so it was something that was a good realization that I had, that I didn't have to do that, and that was freeing. And I'm glad. You know, we all in this world aren't always perfect, and we do make mistakes, and it's okay to admit those mistakes and move forward. Remember, it's not what happens in your life, it's how you get through those things in your life. So be a big person, be a big boy, admit your faults when you have them. And I am not above reproach. I'm not above having or making mistakes. So I thought that I needed to spend money because I thought I needed to have my own kind of quote unquote developer account, that I had to build my own developer account kind of thing so I could showcase stuff, and I didn't need to do that. So I spent or invested a lot of money in the game that I didn't need to. And that was kind of a waste of a lot of money. So I do regret the amount of money I spent on the game at times. If you're going to spend money on the game, just don't do it for the false reasons of I'm investing in the game. It's not an investment, in my opinion. It's not an investment at all. You're spending because you enjoy it. If you're going to have a beer, you're not investing in anything. You're just having a beer for fun. Have a beer, but have a beer because you're having a beer because you enjoy beer. If you're playing the game, spend some money on the game because you enjoy it, because you're having fun. Don't do it because you're investing in beer. You know, don't do it because you're investing in the game. Just do it because you enjoy the game. But you're throwing your money away, and just know that and be okay with that. I was okay and am okay with the money I've spent on the game because it did bring me years of enjoyment. And, you know, I was okay to walk away with it or walk away from it. But just know that saying that I was investing in the game was wrong, and I was wrong during those years by saying it was an investment. I just believed it was an investment at the time, but I was wrong. And anyone that says that, you know, I'm not calling them out to be mean or anything. I still consider them very good friends. But Cubs fan, Han, Mobile Gamer, Arnold, them saying it's an investment by spending money on the game it's not an investment.
No, I've never treated it as an investment. I mean, I've had some of the skewers donate for me to have it, but that's for the content for them to enjoy.
Especially because they have developer accounts still.
Yeah, I look at it like anytime I do something for my account for the fans, it's like I'm just doing it so I can have the character, so we can do stuff and have fun, and I can talk about it.
Yeah,
but it's not. I don't never looked at it as an investment. Absolutely not. And you know, so, and I don't even spend. I've stopped completely spending money in this game. I'll still be open to fans, like if something new comes out and they want me to have it, so they can see me on stream using it and talk about it and stuff. That's one thing, but it's not. It's I don't. Yeah, I'm
I'm as real as it gets, dude.
Yeah,
I'm forward. I'm honest, and I will splay myself open in front of anybody. I don't give two craps, man. I will be as honest and as forward as it gets. I'm as real as it gets, man. Always have been.
Yeah. So, but yeah, those days are long gone.
Any other fun questions? For our
Yeah,
busy-
one more fun question for you. And this question
Sweet, that
came
was
in when
fun.
you were talking about one more, and this one came in from when you were talking about you potentially logging into your Scissorman account to get Malik. And the question was from JT Tip, should we put Warrior on Suicide Watch?
No, not at all. Not at all. So, no, it's one of those things. I don't think about my Warrior account, not at all, not even for a second. That account I haven't even thought about like in the last year. Like, when I got kicked out of Team Instinct, the only part that hurt was just like the fact that I kind of had been there since the inception of guilds. You know what I mean? It's like I'd been there since the literal beginning of Team Instinct. So that was it. Was just like it stung a little. It was like, really, you guys? Come on! Like most of them that were there weren't even there when I was there. You know, and it was like, oh my gosh, you guys, whatever. But the Warrior account was just like it wasn't even fun anymore. But the Scissorman account was fun. But it was like playing Scissorman. I felt the obligation to keep the Warrior account alive because the Warrior account was where I spent all the money. So, you feel like you got to keep this one account on life support. Time investment, man, time investment. It was just so much time in the game doing both accounts. It was like, ugh, I just can't do the time investment anymore. So time investment. And then, of course, you can deal with time investment. You can kind of tolerate it if things in the game were in a better state. If the last month wasn't the way it was, I'd still probably be doing Scissorman. But you guys have seen what's going on in the last month. The last month is just the way it was the last 3 months, the way it was the last 6 months, the way it was the last year. So I just, it's one of those things. So, Scissorman was fun, but time investment and the way that they run the company and everything, it's difficult. It's been very peaceful the last month. So it's been good.
All right.
With that, you want to pimp your stuff,
yep,
Warrior?
Yep, pimp your stuff.
Been having fun. I will be chopping some new things up and putting some new stuff on the channel. But I've been doing ATI. It's a fun card game. Had a couple of different people on. I've had Sure Shot on the channel 2 weeks ago. So if you enjoy him and I's banter, go and check that out a couple of weeks ago. And then I had a new guy, Artisan K. He's kind of a funny cat. He's a little different than Sure Shots. So if you enjoy banter, but enjoy a different kind of banter, go check him out. This was just this last week. So if you like the banter, but it being just a different format of banter, go check him out. Artisan K was pretty funny this last week. So go check him out as well. We're definitely going to have different people, different individuals, and we'll have different kinds of stuff over time. We're working out some different things. We're also working out a different soundboard. We're going to do a soundboard that has 4 different audio outputs, and we're going to eventually work out some different sound qualities because the mics and stuff that we're using and whatnot, one of the mics is good, one of the mics is intermittent. So we gotta figure something out. But trying to get mic'd up with lapel mics. The lapel mics we're using, like I said, the one lapel mic sometimes works and sometimes doesn't work so well. So, but we love the lapel mic idea just because we're always so hands-free and stuff. It's just gives us a bigger chance to be the silly selves that we are. So anyway, appreciate you guys having me on. It's been fun.
All right, my friend, have a good one.
Yeah. Side note, that hat, the D, what's that D stand for?
Dickhole.
Yeah, right.
Dallas Cowboys, baby.
Sweet.
Yeah,
all right, you guys, thanks for having me on. You guys have a wonderful afternoon.
I know it's the Cowboys, but you stick with your team through thick and thin. It sucks. I mean, sometimes when the good times are there, you're happy, but when they suck, and you got to stick with
the good times haven't happened in like 20 years, Ranger.
Yeah, I know.
It's all right. You got to stick with your team through the good and the bad.
I'm a Dolphins fan, so I'm not complaining. I'm just saying.
I'm a Browns fan. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, oh God,
I'm not delusional about
it. Yeah. So
that's really.
I don't have like a losing record and everything over the last like 30 years, and then go around calling myself America's team. I'm just saying. So
that's true. You guys have a good afternoon.
See you, Warrior.
Yeah. See ya.
All right. So good old Maurice, we'll jump back into the questions here. And question to you from What Else 73. He says, what is the level of priority on the Hux and First Order Sith Trooper Zetas?
Ooh, well, I mean, I don't think you need the Sith Trooper Zeta until you have a 7-star Sith Trooper, right? I don't think his name is not going to do you any good if he's like 3-star geared 10, right? That's not going to do you any good. So I would definitely save a Zeta for Sith Trooper, but when you complete the character, because you don't want to just add senseless GP, on a character, and all of a sudden your Sith Trooper at 5-6-star or whatever is in your top 80, messing up your matchmaking. You don't want that. And Hux, though, on the other hand, is one that you can take Hux to gear 12, right? So we all know that. But Hux's Zeta is actually one that you can get some use out of on a first order team. So if you have to do one first, it's probably going to, if you have both characters 7-star, you need them both. But if you don't, Hux is one you could consider early. Sith Trooper, complete the character first. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does. Okay.
That's science. That's science, Finn.
Yeah, it is. All right. So the next question from Jedi Gunny is, after watching Arnold's video about Resistance hero Poe Finn and how viable that squad should be, should the focus be on Galactic Legend Rey or Galactic Legend Kylo?
Well, there's a lot of things to consider. Like, Arnold made that video that's beating Darth Revan. That's awesome. But do you have these characters 7-star? Is there going to? Yes. Well, it's just, are you going to have these characters 7-star in time before something else comes out that beats Darth Revan as well? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're talking a long way away. I'd hate to suggest to work on one character or the other without knowing the requirements, because this is something we've said. Like, what if you gear up your resistance and they pull a 180 on you, and you need the resistance for the Kylo, and you need the first order for the Rey? Like, there's no, and you might need both of these. I mean, these two resistance, the Poe and Finn, they might be required for Rey. Hux and Sith Trooper might be required for Kylo. Like, they're going to throw something. It's not going to be so simple as the first order gets you Kylo, resistance gets you Rey. There's going to be a curveball somewhere, right? I mean, I'm anticipating one. I hope I'm wrong. If he's coming out in March, you're not going to have these 4 characters. If you didn't buy any of the packs, you're definitely not going to have resistance in time for Rey in March. They're just not going to. I mean, you're not going to do it. They're going to be marquees. Poe's still a marquee for another month before he even goes into whatever make-believe rotation that they have for him now. Then he goes into shipments, and then he's into a hard node. That's a long way away before we're looking at having complete Finn and Poes. I don't know. I don't really know how to advise people on what to prepare for, because if I'm wrong, I feel responsible, and they've invested lots of resources in characters you don't even need.
Yeah.
I've just been advising people just to look at the characters, look what they need, take you a pen and pencil, make a spreadsheet of the gear you need to accumulate in time, and just kind of sit on stuff.
The question too is, right, how much do we think they're going to power creep, right? And the reason I bring that question up is because we see already now with Resistance hero Poe and Finn that even under the existing Rey, right, that team is dominant. Like, it might not be able to beat Gas, but it beats Revan. It can beat Padme teams, although I'm not sure that the Padme team is quite as consistent as the Revan. I watched the assists,
man. Yeah, there's too many assists and counters. They all counter now. It's
going to keep on adding 40% of your health, and they're only dealing 10%. So I have a feeling the Padme is going to be a little bit more inconsistent. But the beating of the Revan is still pretty good. And if you don't have a mechanic like Padme or like Gas, where like the characters are just going to survive and they almost get like a second life to some extent, the team is going to wreck them. So you're already seeing the dominance of the Rey team without Galactic Legend Rey. So then the question becomes, how much more will Galactic Legend Rey add to the team? Do we think it's going to be to the level of like Malik being added to the Darth Revan team, where the Darth Revan team actually was kind of lackluster when it first came out, right? Jedi Knight Revan was still beating it. You added Malik to it, that team was like unbeatable by Jedi Knight Revan. Do we think that it's going to be something similar like that with the new Rey? And if you think that it is going to be like that, then you're expecting a huge amount of power creep, and then it's worth investing in Resistance hero Poe and Finn. I don't think the power creep is going to be that much, which actually leads me towards thinking that Galactic Legend Kylo may make a bigger difference, because we're seeing some of the pieces on the First Order side, right? But we're not seeing something that pulls it all together. Like we can't say just stick right now. Sith, the First Order Sith Trooper, you can stick him on any kind of team because he's just kind of a good overall character. You can maybe stick Hux on a First Order team under the crew, and he kind of works, but he's not great. It doesn't really take that team to like a new level or anything, kind of like Resistance hero Poe and Finn do to Jedi Training Rey, which has kind of fallen out of any discussion of the meta recently. So I think you're exactly right, good old Maurice. Like, it's hard to say right now who to focus on because we don't know what these two kits are going to bring, how it's going to change the dynamic. And it's usually always safer just to work on teams that you know are good now. And maybe that's Resistance hero Poe and Finn if you really are invested in it. But otherwise, there's probably other teams you can work on in terms of Gear 13 and Relics before you focus on either of these two teams that are currently going to be incomplete.
Well, they're completely different. I think a lot, if just Bray and Kylo just completely eliminated from the conversation, your Resistance now is a mechanic-driven team, right? When the First Order, that's more of a stat-driven team. Like you stack stats of the team, like health on First Order Executioner, health on crew. I think if you have better mods, and like if you have like upper echelon mods, I think the First Order is very attractive. If you don't have the best mods, then the Resistance becomes way more attractive because you can beat teams with the mechanics themselves, like Inspire, BB-8, Secret Intel. You get the turn meter. You can use the extra droid to give yourself a speed boost. Jedi Training Rey has all the exposes. That's just completely based on critical chance, no potency needed. So, like for those without the high tier mods, I think Resistance is going to be fantastic for your roster. So I would definitely prepare for them in the coming months. I'd probably go. I guess that's a good way to look at it. I guess if you have great mods, maybe focus a little more on the First Order because they will have a better fleet. And as the ships that are in the game right now, they'll be better in ships. But if you don't have the best mods, maybe start saving the gear for Resistance. That's
science.
That's what I'm going with. Final answer.
Final answer.
I'm so hesitant to tell people to make suggestions. I don't want to steer people wrong because I have no idea.
Just be cautious. Just kind of watch, look for the information. I mean, you can.
It'll come back to haunt you too, good old Maurice. The Ugnaught still comes up with heroic AAT.
Oh,
I'm
Lord.
just saying. I never said to gear them either. I just said work on the shards, but apparently that means work on it and gear them up, and that's not what I said at all.
Liar!
I know, man. You got to be careful. What you say? Yeah.
But I will take it because I in no uncertain terms said that I think Ugnaught was going to be good in heroic AAT, and I still think he was pretty good actually under an old Ben lead in phase 3.
Come on, man.
Ugnaught, no, he wasn't the top team. But Ugnaught under an old Ben in phase 3 was actually pretty decent. It was actually a really fun team because he would dodge everything from all of those droids and then just start like stunning them and killing them. He was actually pretty good. But yeah, not something I would recommend. There's other teams that are better in phase 3 that have better usability in the rest of the game. All right. So next question for you is from the Honkler. He says tips on setting any annoying defense with Phoenix in GAC.
No. It depends. Are your Phoenix like gear 12 plus with all the Zetas? Then they can be problematic. If they're just like leveled up to the bare minimum to get Thrawn, I mean, you're just going to get one shot by one character. I do think the characters, some of the characters are useful. If you wanted to split, let's say you wanted to split up your Jedi Revan team, I think Ezra and Kanan, especially if you have that Kanan Zeta, they fit under a Bastila lead pretty well. But that's two ways you can use them. They also got the Rebel tag too. Those two characters can kind of be used all over the place. Zeb is kind of meh, but you can kind of pair him with like other dazing characters. Maybe, we talked about Maul earlier, Holdo. There's a lot of characters that have dazed mechanics, and Zeb, if he hits a dazed character, can stun them. He's just very, very slow, for sure. I know he's slow. I didn't just pull that one out of my butt like Resistance Hero Finn. But no, Zeb's slow. Sabine's very good. Sabine's actually quite helpful for like Malak cleanup.
Yeah,
you can use Sabine's armor shred to kind of help you get through Malak. individually, the characters have some uses. I'm not a big fan unless you're fully invested in them. The team itself, I guess. Well,
you haven't talked enough about Chopper. Talk about Chopper.
Well, Chopper is amazing, but Chopper,
I know.
I've gotten off the Chopper train a long time ago. He's very good too. He's a support that taunts, and he's got evasion, and he's useful. But he's much better for the Phoenix simply because he provides so much health regeneration. But he is a taunting tank. He's fast. He's got a very high base speed. So he's an option for your maybe wigs. A lot depends on your GP too, I guess. I'm sitting here talking from the perspective of somebody that's 5.5 million GP. I mean, Phoenix is pretty much irrelevant at my stage. But if you have like 2 million GP, then that's a different story. Then just try to make.
Then don't listen to Maurice.
Yeah, no, just you want your Chopper fast. You want your Ezra a lot of crit chance. Zeb could use a little bit of everything. Hera is kind of garbage.
Make her survivable. That's all you do.
Yeah.
Kane is tanky, and then Ezra and Sabine are your big damage dealers. Sabine's nasty with her grenades and armor strip, but the team just lacks. And all these other teams, it's just too easy to kill them. I mean, it just even on defense, you're just like, okay.
I think that's part of it. What good old Maurice is saying too, right? So the GP thing is definitely an important part of this. Higher GPs, Phoenix are just going to die. If you're a lower GP, Phoenix, I mean, when you're first starting, and a little different if you have the hyperdrive bundles all up in your arena shard and everything, but Phoenix is still a decent arena team when you're first starting, right? It's one of the original starting teams. You get yourself Thrawn and all of that. So Phoenix can still be good there. So it's not that they're bad. But if you're using them in GAC and you're maybe in the middle, right? So lower GPs might benefit from Phoenix, and there's nothing really annoying that you can do about it. Higher GPs, you're just not going to really make use of Phoenix unless you have them all reliced out and Zetaed and everything. And even then, it's a little questionable how much you want to put them on defense. In the middle range, kind of around that 2 million to 3 million GP, Phoenix maybe can be thrown in defense, but you have to also try and cater it towards what you think is going to be used to kill it, right? And then one of the most common things is a Wampa. So you're gonna try and maybe mod it to go against a Wampa, right? So you're gonna look for speed on certain characters. You're gonna want to make sure that Zeb has enough potency to make sure he dazes Wampa, so he's not counterattacking and wamping you every single turn, right? Then you're gonna need Sabine in order to do armor shred in order to get through Wampa. Otherwise, you're gonna have difficulty there. So you have to determine kind of like which characters you want, which characters you don't need from the Phoenix as well, and try to cater it, not just putting it on defense, because Phoenix is not a great defensive team, even in the mid GAC. What you're trying to do is throw them off by trying to make sure that they're countering whatever you think they're going to throw at you on offense. So there is a lot of strategy to it, but you also need the depth of mods, which is probably the hardest part of the whole thing at this point.
That's science.
All right. Next question, Maurice, is from NR Wilson. He says, if your Jedi Revan team is Gear 13, does it make the light side Malik event easier?
I think so. Yeah, we did it. We all did it at Gear 12.
You got Gear 12, man. Some Gear 11.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you just got to think.
We didn't have the right side pieces yet when we did it the first time. So come on.
Say, at the bare minimum, they're going to be 6. At least? What is it? 6, 6, 8. Yeah, they'll be at least 20 speed faster. Like at least.
What's the damage and extra health and protection? I mean, Jesus.
There is the component though that Warrior was talking about, right? Where if your team is Gear 13 and Relic, their damage is going to go up. You might not, unless you're careful, you might not be able to get enough armor shreds and stuff on the Malik.
Why?
Because you're going to be killing everyone too quickly.
Well,
as you go to Gear 13, all your offensive stats. You're going to have to modify your mods a little bit. Your survival goes up, but you have to modify your damage, because if you don't get those armor shreds on Malik, you're not going to break through them very easily.
But you just keep killing. You keep killing all the droids over and over again, and just keep you don't AoE. You just kill the droids, and then when they're down, you set it up for that first container to go, and you spread out the damage more, right? And you can still hit Malik once in a while too. You just have to learn how the game the thing. So I think that's just gonna.
I agree with you guys that it is going to be easier at Gear 13, but I think it might require a little bit of modifications on mods to try and make it so that you don't like overkill something a little bit, because Gear 13 increases your survivability, which is huge, right? You're not going to die as quickly, and you can take some of these debuffs and take these hits and you'll be able to survive it. You don't have to worry about T3. I'm assuming T3 is not Gear 13.
Well, you're probably not going in there with T3. It's probably
you're probably not going in there with T3.
You're going in there with Mission,
Zalbar and Mission,
Zalbar, right?
with Jolie,
and
Bastila,
yeah, I mean,
and
I did it last time with people that had that kind of situation, and just spread the damage out, use basics. It's just knowing the timing of when to get medieval on that ass and when not to, right? So
yeah,
and I just kept it using basics and stuff and killing the droids for that person, and then when Armor Shred came up, like, oh, there's another Armor Shred, and there's another Armor Shred, and I think they beat it with 3 Armor Shreds, not 4. So because their characters are relic and stuff. So once it came down for the nitty gritty, then it was like, Jesus Christ, you melted him. It's like, oh my God.
So that is another point. And if you guys have watched usually either like my stream or Ranger stream when we do these events, and when I did the Malik one, right, it's always a good idea not just to, the videos and stuff that are out there are great, the ones that help you with the strategy and all of that, but make sure you understand why the strategy is the way it is, so that you know what the adjustments are, right? If you're trying to get things in timing and the goal is to try and get armor shreds and you're trying to get like turn orders and stuff correct in order to optimize that, make sure you understand how that fits with your team, because it may not be exactly the same way as what the video shows. It's going to need slight modifications, and you're going to want to make sure you cater it to yours. So so it will make your event a lot easier. Just make sure that you understand how much it changes the output that you're doing based on whatever you're using for a guide. That's going to be the main thing.
All right.
Okay. Next question. Gom, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. You had a phone call, so I just wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So next question from Hudson. He says, how much do you all reckon it's going to cost to unlock the new Galactic Legend Rey or Kylo the first time around?
$900 million.
Well, there will be some sort of panic farm if it's the Resistance.
But they said there wasn't going to be. See, this is the thing we got into the debate the other night, Good on Race, where it's like they said they're not going to create a panic farm. I don't see how they're going to be able to do it. Let's say the character's coming out in March. If they keep their cadence up, and I want to get your thoughts on this, the characters just came out, right? Then if you keep the cadence where they go, so right now you can get them in packs, right? Like the new Poe. And then you get them into chromiums, and then you get them eventually where they'll announce it into a store. But that's usually a 6 to 8 week process, right? That puts us into March. So if we don't even have a place to farm it, and then they're saying in March, Rey's coming, how are you not creating a panic farm?
Perhaps in their eyes, if they tell us ahead of time that the characters we can't obtain are going to be required, then we can save our resources to buy them out of shipments.
I don't know.
I'd say that's total sarcasm. I mean, that's
we're assuming one other thing here too, and I'm assuming it as well in the way I'm looking at it, is that they might not be looking at character shards as the panic farm anymore, right? We've always considered the panic farm, and we had like the panic. I was talking about it on Wednesday. Like we have the panic farm calculator, right? And that always looks as to whether or not you can get 7 stars on your character. I think their shift in mentality now is let them get it to 7-star. Let's just make the gear requirements ridiculous. So we could have an event coming up with Galactic Legend Rey and Kylo where the requirement is going to be at least 26,000 GP per character, right? And then the panic farm is more on the gear side rather than the shard side, which is what I think they're about to push, unfortunately. That you can probably get the character to 7-star if you're focused and you're working on it, and you may not have to spend a single penny to get the shards up to 7-star. But to get a character up to what, Relic 6 or something in order to get it up to 26,000 GP, that's where I think they're going to make most of their money.
Well,
so I think they're making a different panic farm.
I kind of agree with you. Like it could go back to what we talked about like a month or so ago. You might be able to use any 5 characters you want, but they're going to need to be Relic 7 with the Zetas and incredibly well modded. Like they don't really. I mean, I guess they could do a hard cap GP wise. That seems to be the route they're going, but you don't even need to do that. Like you can just make it incredibly difficult, not give anybody any restrictions. And if people want to spend, 48 hours straight trying to get it with their Gear 10 characters, like it just, they're not going to get it. Like that's like, if they didn't have the cap on the gas event, people would have tried for hours and hours and hours with their Gear 10 Asajj and their Separatists and not even come close. Right. I think the they could have maybe a recommended cap, but to have a hard cap in the game, I think is kind of silly. It kind of prevents people from participating, but I guess there's also an element of pure frustration, I guess, that might have people rage quit. I don't know. I'm kind of with you, man. I think the factor that's going to stop people is the gear, maybe not so much the characters. That's going to suck. So I would save all your relic material. No, I wouldn't. I would suggest maybe not even relicking anything unless your guild requires it for TW or something, or TB, for a while. Save all your relic stuff, because I think you're right, man. I think it's going to come out, have the like 7 everything.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just they've always manipulated everything we've requested of them, right? So trying not to get a panic farm would mean, see, you have a panic farm calculator. It's only telling you shards. We're telling you well ahead of time about the shards. So it's like, we're doing you a favor, and then just smack you in the face with GP requirements.
Like, thanks for nothing.
All right. Next question is from Darth Unlucky. And the question is, will they ever update the Bounty Hunter prestigious quests so I can complete them? I need to take IG-88 into Hoth to complete, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that sucks. No. I mean, they might, but I don't give a crap about feats. Are you big, or are you one of those that does all the stuff and the extra stuff, good on Maurice? The quest.
You talking about for the Grand Arena?
No, I'm talking about
the prestigious quest.
The prestigious quest.
Oh, you talking about like the complete, like, kill 17,000 Wampas with Boba Fett?
Yeah.
No, I've tried to do that one. I've had that one open since the beginning, and every once in a while I'll go in there and auto one Grand Arena. I'm like, or one Galactic War with Boba Lead. I'm like, I can't. Oh, it's auto sim. I can't do this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no time for that. There's too much stuff to do in the game.
I just don't know why they restrict it to only using 3, right? I don't recall ever needing to do like something like this, like these prestigious quests, where they limit you, like you have to pick 3 of them and focus and work on it, versus what they seem to intend this for, which is newer players, right? And they basically said this is like for somebody that's starting and giving them something fun to work with, where they can just work on all of these things in sequence as they do their regular gameplay. Like it was always weird to me.
I think a lot of them have to do with like TW wins and stuff too. So it'd be far less frustrating, to do maybe all the you could get all your quests up to the TW part and then kind of knock them all out together, and just instead, like you got to pick 3, and then it's, like now I'm stuck on one. It's like win a arena battle, which would have been just simple months ago, but I didn't pick it at the time. It's like win 10 arena battles with all Jedi. I can't do that now. It's just
you can ask your shard mates. I'm on that same one, I think, and I'm tempted just to ask a shard mate to see if I can can you put in a crap team? I need to win with Jedi.
Like, damn it, I picked the wrong one months ago. Like, I think I've got one of them. I think I got like the first Sith one 7-7, but that was like Sith Masters an option. Like, I think I got the easy Sith one done, and that's it. I don't much care for those. My avatar has been pretty much Asajj the whole time. I haven't really changed the title of my character or anything like that.
Oh, I need to win 20 squad arena battles with Qui-Gon Jinn. That's not happening. Not anytime soon.
Yeah, if the quests were out in 2016, you'd be in business.
I love that meta. I still miss that meta. Qui-Gon Jinn lead with Stick Ray. God, the nonsense of that one. That was, and Geo Soldier was on that team.
Before they forced her hand in faction-specific teams, people had like Phasma, Royal Guard, Stick Ray, like all sorts of junk. Stidius was meta, Poe and Poggle,
and Riemann with Maul.
Oh, with 3 dot mods.
All right, next one.
Well, just a quick announcement. Right after this stream, I'm going to do a GAC stream where we're going to set up my defensive team. So if you want to check that out. Maybe if good old Maurice wants to hang around, it'll be about a 15 to 20 minute stream. We're going to set our defensive teams, talk about what we want to use on defense, things of that nature. So if you want to check that out, that'll be right after this Jedi Academy. So make sure you tune in for that.
Okay. So a couple more questions, and then we'll jump into some fun questions here. So Jason Krulik said, CG said they plan on announcing some of the characters needed for the Galactic Legends next week. Which characters do you think they will announce?
The Tip Brothers, Hux, Sith Trooper,
Tip Brothers,
Ray, little Pete, all my homies down at 7-Eleven.
Oh my god.
I don't know, man. It's well, we'll see. I hope they don't require the Tip Brothers. That's going to be really tough. Looks like everybody's going the Kylo route for no other reason that Hux and Sith Troopers should, in theory, be farmable first. So. I don't know.
But I only had one baby. He said the next time it'd be just the tip, and he lied. We ended up with 2 babies.
Awful EXO.
XO68 cheered.
We need to turn that off on
X126.
your Jedi Academy. Okay.
No.
EXO donating bits and getting things cut. All right.
Never just the tip.
What do you think from the ship aspects? Do you think there's going to be ships? Do you think it's all going to be characters? You know, Maurice?
You know, I don't. Yes.
He breaks down like they wore me down. I have to say yes.
Yes. I'd prepare for the worst.
Oh no.
I don't know. I don't know what to. They've got something up their sleeve, and I don't know what it is. It's. I've lost hope. I've lost hope in trying to be able to predict the future. It's my soothsaying abilities have really gone downhill the last couple of years in this game. So
You want to so you want to see if we can go down a rabbit hole that's even more annoying?
What? No.
Why not?
So the 2 capital ships they announced, the Radis and the what's the other one? The Hux one, Finalizer, right? What if they are required as the capital ships in order to get these Galactic Legend characters?
Oh,
I don't think it's a coincidence that it's First Order and Resistance that are coming out, and we have a Galactic Legend, First Order, and Resistance.
Oh my.
So what if the requirements are similar to what we needed with like the Akbar and stuff for?
Oh my god!
Right, where you needed some First Order ships, so you need all the First Order, you need all the Resistance, you need their capital ships, and they're going to be needed for each of their Galactic Legends. Because that was my first thought when I saw those 2 capital ships. Because the unfortunate part is we don't have the ships to justify 2 more capital ships, right? With the introduction of 2 more capital ships, we need, at this point right now, we are 1 regular ship short of having enough ships in order to field a full team for all the capital ships. And then they're going to be adding 2 capital ships, which means they need 14 ships. So what would be the point in introducing capital ships this early? The game is not ready for it from a logistics standpoint from the number of ships. So my first thought is those are gonna be required for Rey and Kylo. We're gonna need those capital ships.
This minute of depression is brought to you by Infinity.
Did that depress you? Good old Maurice. Good old Maurice got all quiet now.
Well,
did I break you?
Looks like I'll be going without the Black and Legend Ray or Kylo.
I think I broke it on Maurice.
Yeah. You know, Warriors, I was talking about earlier how, some of the content creators have changed their spending habits. Looks like they'll be the ones with the content. I'm going to have nothing. I don't know. I don't know. How do you release a capital ship? Like they haven't really released like a marquee capital ship before, have they? Like, I mean, that's... Is it going to be an event itself? Do I have to
get one?
Do I have to get one? Mm-hmm. Am I gonna have to gear 13 my Resistance pilot to even participate in the Galactic Legend Ray events? Because I gotta have the Resistance pilot ship all decked out. I mean, I don't know.
Also,
Lee, you just put a really gloomy cloud over everyone's weekend. Way to go,
Finn.
Well, and this can hang over you until March.
I don't know, man. I hope not. I don't know.
Because I just couldn't make. I don't know. I know you guys talked about it a little bit on Metaverse, but what is the? I mean, do you have a reason why they're introducing 2 capital ships otherwise, without having nearly enough ships to justify it at this point?
First Order, I could say, yeah, it makes sense for the First Order. We'd almost have to get another Resistance ship, right? Like, there's not enough. But I guess what was required for Thrawn? The 2 Phoenix ships and Cassian? Was there?
Well, oh god, don't get me started on Thrawn. Are you talking about now what are listed as the final requirements?
Like for the ship, for the Chimera, like there was like a.
You needed initially it was Ghost, Phantom, and then I believe 2 other Rebel ships. And then ultimately now I think because they bugged it out, they made it so you just needed 4 Rebel ships with Home 1.
So it could be something like that if it is an event that you could be use all, like it could be like that feat we had the last Grand Arena. Use the Y-Wings, which was awful. That was terrible. Use the Y-Wings. Use Rey's Millennium Falcon. Maybe it could be like a segmented thing where like the first wave you need to use the X-Wings, the second wave you need to use Rey's Millennium Falcon. Kind of make like a little cheesy story arc kind of thing out of it. Maybe kind of like the Rey and CLS event. You needed certain things for this phase, that phase, and so on. They could do something like that. I don't know. Speculation trade is getting a little out of control here. I'm not even comfortable with the things I'm suggesting now. So I don't know. You got me all disoriented.
God,
I broke good old Maurice.
Yeah. Quality content from good old Maurice this morning. Yes.
Let's see how many times we can break good old Maurice. It's the new theme. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's just ships doesn't make sense to me right now and where it is with the game. So it's always interesting to see when they're adding stuff. I like the fact that they're trying to add things, but it just doesn't seem. Yeah, like First Order capital ships makes sense, but we just don't have enough ships in the game because that means you're removing it from some other team, right? So either Executrix is not going to have enough or some other thing. So yeah, it's unfortunate. All right. Next question from John Moran. Question, what's the best way to mod ARC Trooper?
Fast and hard hitting. Fast and hard hitting. Because, the more he goes, the more that turret will assist and the more dispels you get. If he's R7, shoot for maybe 10,000 physical offense and then as much speed and counter chance that you can get on him. You don't need the counter chance. Well, you do need the counter chance on him. But yeah, just go shoot for maybe 10,000 physical offense and then kind of fill in as much critical chance and speed as you can get. I think if you can get 10,000 physical offense, 65%-ish crit chance and I don't know, 260 speed. That's a good ARC Trooper.
That's science.
Yeah. And you remember, guys, that any of the clones, that they'll get 20% extra crit chance from Echo's Unique. I think it's 20 to 25% additional critical chance you get from Echo's Unique. So they don't have to be ridiculously high. Like anything over 80 is borderline a waste unless you're facing like a Trey or like crit avoidance relic. So keep that in mind. You get a free 20% crit chance.
All right.
Okay. Next question from Danilo Papayas. He says, what would you say if we would need Jawas to unlock Din Djarin? AKA the Mandalorian.
I would be pissed.
I would say I'm not getting that character.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that's like mildly excited about that? I have been so annoyed since they changed the mod challenges and I had worked on Jawas for it that now it's basically useless, right?
What gear levels are your Jawas?
I think they're 10 and 11 right now.
Okay. I was going to say, if they're like 7 and 8, come on, man. But yeah, 10, 11, yeah.
Well, I'm using them against Geos too, so I've been working on them a little bit. So I'm finding a use for it, but yeah.
I use them too. In a pure emergency situation, they're very good for eliminating a character or two from some teams, when it gets down to the nitty gritty in Grand Arena. So.
Yeah. That's fine. I would like another use for the Jawas, but I don't know if that's the best way. Because Ranger, this is more maybe like a lore-ish thing. Those are different types of Jawas, right? Those are, I think they classify them as like off-world Jawas or something like that.
Jawas are Jawas, but they're just like any clan. They're different, factions, things of that nature. So, I mean, yeah.
Okay. Last question before the fun questions from Paulo Gare. And the question is, are clones at the moment the best bang for our bucks?
I don't know.
I think so.
Bang for the buck. I don't know because if you want to use clones in arena, you're going to be fighting. Again, it depends on where you're at in the game. Like if you're talking about for arena team, yeah, they're probably the best arena team right now, but you need to have them all relicked. So in terms of buck, you gotta start the characters up, gear the characters up, and then relic the characters up. Whereas some of the other teams, you can use them, without all the relics.
True.
Like a Sith Empire team, you don't necessarily need to have them all relic 7. To have the mechanics. The mechanic-driven teams, you can get by without quite as many relics, but a team like clones, like we talked about earlier, the First Order, they're stat-driven teams, and those teams are the ones that you really want the high relics on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and that's bang for the buck overall. The game, I think they're good. Yeah, them or I'm trying to think of a dark side version.
The droids, separatist droids to me are pretty good too.
Because your clones under Shaak Ti are arguably 1A, 1B best team for the light side version right now. Clones are a good arena team. A couple of them have ships. The droids, same thing. They've got a whole fleet now. They're very good. They're required for dark side. Very good Grand Arena team. Grievous is still arguably one of the best defenses for Territory Wars in Grand Arena. So yeah, those are two good ones. Big factions too. I know there's Cody and Clone Sergeant. They're not the best, but they're options.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, we are now into the fun question.
Oh boy.
First question is for Ranger.
Uh-oh.
And the question is, do you think that if Steven Spielberg made a
if
second
this is Revenator,
movie,
I don't know. No, I'm not answering this
based
question.
in the time of the Old Republic,
I'm not answering this question.
that we would finally get the twins in the game? I tried, Revenator. I tried. That's all I can say. All right. Zerial asks, do I have a chance against the idiot savant this round in GAC?
Oh, yes.
So Zerial is playing Grande. Yeah, Grande's on the stream all the time talking about he loses and gets like 0 and 3 in GAC. So the answer is yes.
I like your chances, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
No offense against Grande, but Grande's mods per GP is pretty bad. Like, I'm not talking junk, but like, I've peeped his roster a few times, and he's not as fast as some of the other guys in the same GP bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's in a good guild. He's he's in a very good TW guild, so he definitely knows how to counter stuff. So maybe throw a couple curveballs in there, stuff that he's not used to seeing. If you place the very traditional teams, he's probably gonna have a real good idea of how to beat those, just because they do it time and time again in TW, against the very best. So
hold on. Apparently, I accidentally turned off the filter that masks my robot side.
Oh,
they're all seeing my robot eyes and stuff. Sorry. That was
So yeah, have some fun with him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pete Grande. Pete Grande recorded and then spam it in chat all you want.
Good.
All right.
Kill him. Kill him now.
D Perks question: how do you all feel about the CG Ma chat? I don't know anything about a CG Ma chat.
Yeah,
if CG has a, do you know, Good Maurice?
If such a thing exists, there's always been communication between, maybe not necessarily guilds, but some players. There's always been that. I can't say for sure that whether or not the whole guild has it. I have no idea, but there's always been, even dating back. If you guys remember, years ago, one of DB's officials' very first videos was publicly calling out the Alliance, which was the guild community I'm in, for having communication with CG. And there are some of the veteran high spending, just whatever. You don't have to spend money necessarily, but just certain players have communication with CG. So that's no different. That's existed since the game was created.
Yeah.
Which, whether or not you like it or not, at least somebody's communicating with CG. It might not be Finn, Ranger, and I, but at least they're getting.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, they're getting player feedback. Whether that specific player or guild's feedback applies to the entire player base, I don't know, but at least something. We do have.
I doubt it does, considering. Well, I don't think any of them recommended the gas coming back after 2 months. I'm just gonna guess.
Yeah,
I'm gonna guess.
So, just because there's feedback doesn't mean that they listen to them. So
nope.
Or that it's.
I can tell you that firsthand from being in the game changer chats and stuff. So.
All right, and that was all of our questions.
All right, good old Maurice, why don't you pimp your stuff there, buddy?
Rather than take a bite of my sandwich.
Before you take a bite of your sandwich.
No, it's in my mouth now.
Oh.
Let's all listen as good old Maurice eats.
I just swallowed that bite whole. That will go back to haunt me later. Operation Metaverse, Thursday nights we stream. We actually have a patron workshop here just a little bit for patrons going over the counters. When we announced it, we were kind of unsure what the format would be, so now we know it'll be 5 versus 5 counters today. That's happening just about about an hour, so we're going to start that up. If you guys are interested in that, you can head over to the Discord. There's information on patrons there. Otherwise, yeah, Thursday night, 10 o'clock, guys. We had Clash on last week. It's good talk. Yeah, come check us out. Come hang out in the Discord.
And then Sundays, good. You got the
Ramon Sunday nights, 11 p.m. Ramon Azab's live show, the Alliance live show, airs over on his channel. Ranger and Avanash join Ramon and I pretty much every week now. So 4 of us break down the news, make fun of Ramon's mods, and take questions and stuff from you guys.
It's great.
Yeah, you can listen. Yeah, Ranger and Ramon, have their loregasms from time to time. You can learn about Star Wars and the game. I've learned a lot from you two guys on that show, so it's pretty cool.
All right, and then for us, if you're watching this, you're watching the Jedi Academy. We do this every Saturday, pretty much. So if you like the content, make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Make sure you do me a favor and check out these other great channels like Good Old Maurice and Warrior and all the other guests we have over periods of time. They come here on a Saturday to hang out with you guys and answer your questions. So go show them a little bit of love. Check out the channels, find out the content that you like the most, and support it. And that's the best way you can show support for them and their endeavors here on the Jedi Academy. For us, we'll be right after this. I'm going to go into my GAC. As I said, if good old Maurice wants to join me and Finn wants to join me as we set our defenses, I'm pretty sure Finn's probably going for. Are you going for Frozen and Carbonite, Finn? Again?
No, this is 5v5. I only do that in 3s because I hate 3s.
Okay.
I think 3s is an abomination, so I don't play that.
Right.
So 5s I will play.
Immediately we're going to end this stream and then we're going to go right into that. So Finn, if you want to hang out, good on Maurice. We're going to do about a short stream. We're just going to set defenses, talk about it, and then I will run that through the rest of the GAC. So the only bad thing is I won't have my 7-star gas until after this first round of GAC. So that sucks. And the first person I'm facing has a Relic 7 gas. It's like, oh no. I knew I was going to get hosed. So make sure to check that out. So with that, we're going to call this one done. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the Jedi Academy. We love you guys. So be safe. And we will see you on the flip side. If not, we'll see you when we see you next. Peace out.